We are wrestling.
Think you know everything about Stone Cold Steve Austin? Well, here are 5 fast facts about the rattlesnake that you might not have already known. March the 30th, 2003 marks the date of Austin's final match. WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, Washington was all set to see The Rock face the rattlesnake in the last of their WrestleMania trilogy, and none of us could have predicted that 18 years later we would never see Austin step between the ropes again. Having said that, the match almost never happened. Austin had been hospitalised the same day after a hugely elevated heart rate had spooked him into visiting the emergency room. He would say that the bottom line is I was drinking too much alcohol and caffeine and I wasn't getting enough rest. I wasn't cleared to leave the hospital, but I left anyway because I was going to wrestle The Rock. The latterly Zeb Coulter came up with the Austin surname since Dr. Death Steve Williams already had Steve's real name. Mantell was apparently a fan of the $1 Million Man TV show from the 70s, where the lead character's name was Steve Austin. Mantell also considered the names Stevie Rage or William Stevenson III. Well, Dutch, 1 out of 3 ain't bad. In a smart move, Austin would go on to legally change his real name from Williams to Austin in 2007. The nickname Stone Cold came to Austin via his wife at the time. Austin was so intently thinking of alternatives to the nickname suggested to him by WWE at the time, e.g. Chili McFreeze and Ice Dagger, his wife had to remind him that the tea she had made was going to be Stone Cold. Thank God for that woman. You can never claim that Austin had his career handed to him on a silver platter. After being fired by WCW while injured to almost being lumbered with those gimmicks I just mentioned, the Rattlesnake really did have to claw his way to becoming one of the most successful superstars of all time. Even earlier in his career, Austin was so broke while working in Tennessee, he was left with just a few dollars per week to spend on food. His shopping list consisted of razors, cans of tuna and a big bag of potatoes. After going through the tuna and not possessing a stove, Austin would have to resort to eating the potatoes raw, cut up with his knife. Talk about paying your dues in the wrestling business. It was a promo for the ages. In 1996, it was more electric and real than anything else that had featured on WWE for months. As Austin ascended to the throne of King of the Ring after defeating a Bible-bashing, born-again Christian version of Jake the Snake Roberts in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he took the microphone to blast a tirade into the 80s legend. You sit there and you thump your Bible and you say your prayers, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your Psalms, talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. Nowadays, in the tightly scripted world of WWE, it would be unthinkable to allow a renegade like Austin to have his own way on the microphone. However, in 1996, WWE had their backs to the wall thanks to the possibility of extinction on behalf of WCW. So hey, why not let him just go ahead and mock an aging born-again Christian? What led from there was a tidal wave of 316 t-shirts for years to come, making Austin a very rich man indeed. All of the pieces had aligned in 1998. Austin was the right name, 316 was the right handle, and Stone Cold was the right gimmick. Austin had damn well paid his dues, and now was the right time for his unique anti-hero babyface to face the modern audience and give them someone to rally behind. After living in his car eating raw potatoes for $30 a shot in Tennessee more than a decade earlier, Austin reportedly earned $1.2 million downside salary in 1998, and you can add all those 316 merchandise sales on top of that as well. This was a huge amount for WWE at the time, as they were just emerging battered and bruised after years of being on the losing end of the Monday Night War against WCW. They would eventually become victorious, largely thanks to the awesome charisma of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think he earned every penny he made.
Are you ready?